Americans are not saving enough money. Just 40% of Americans have the means to protect them from an emergency like a leaky roof or needing to replace their tires, which means 60% of Americans, the majority of America, does not have the cash necessary to protect them from a leaky roof or having to replace their car tires without going into credit card debt or having to go to the bank and having to borrow money. Now, there's a lot more to becoming wealthy than just living smaller and cutting back expenses and saving your money and being cheap. I actually just made a video on YouTube where I talked about if being cheap can make you rich. So if you want to learn more about that, I will link that video for you in the description below and also for you up here. But you got to know how to take that first step. That way you can build your financial base. That way you can have some cash in the bank. And you know what? It really doesn't have to be as burdensome as just never spending any money and never having any fun if you know how to save your money the right way, which is why in this video, I'm going to be going over 10 ways that you can save $1,000 quickly. But before we get into that, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you do not smash that thumbs up button, then YouTube is much less likely to show you and other people our financial news and education videos. And I'm gonna start by talking about why you need to review your bills. I'm a gym person. I love working out, and my gym membership costs me $70 a month to work out at my gym. But I noticed on my credit card statements that my gym membership wasn't charging me $70 a month. They were charging me $75 a month. And so I got kind of curious, what is this extra $5 for? So I called up the gym and they said that they signed me up for a magazine that I never knew that I signed up for, and that's why they were charging me an extra $5 a month. Now, I've had my gym membership for years, and I'll probably continue to have my gym membership for many years into the future, and they were just slapping on this $5 fee because they probably thought no one's gonna check their bills. Now, an extra $5 a month isn't really gonna change my life. I mean, maybe I guess I could afford another side of extra guac, but I'll get to that in a little bit. The whole idea here is you gotta figure out what you need and you gotta see what you're paying for. Chances are, if you pull out your credit card statement and you go through all of your bills, you're gonna find that you have subscription services that you do not need anymore, and you're gonna find that you're paying for things that you don't use. The simplest way that you can start saving some money is just stop paying for the things that you're not using anymore, because chances are you're paying for something that you're not even using. And when it comes to the things that you are using, like your gym membership, make sure you're only paying for what you use. Like if you got a gym membership, make sure you're only paying for the gym membership and not some magazine that you've never read in your life. Second, you gotta know the true cost of what you're buying. If you go to the mall and you buy yourself a nice $150 jacket, what is the true cost of your jacket? So many of you might be thinking at this point that if you bought a $150 jacket, the true cost is $150. But that's not the full story. Yeah, you paid $150, but I want you to really know what it cost you to get the $150. So let's say you make $20 an hour. So if you make $20 an hour, how long did it take you to make this $150? That would be what, 5, 6, 7.5 hours of work to get this $150 jacket. But this is actually before taxes, because remember, Uncle Sam's got to take their cut with the IRS. So after taxes, it's actually going to cost you 9.5 hours of time to buy this jacket. Would you rather have the jacket, or would you rather have 9.5 hours of time? This is almost always one of the first calculations I have in my mind, because I always want to know, how much time is this thing going to cost me that I want to buy? Now, I get it. You can have passive investments that pay you without you having to physically work, but you got to know how much your time is worth. And if you know that, then you can calculate how much time this thing is going to cost you. And then you can really ask yourself, do I want to spend this money on this jacket? So now you know that the true cost of your jacket isn't just $150. It's almost 10 hours of your time. But the second thing you need to ask yourself when it comes to the true cost is, what would this jacket be worth in the future if you didn't buy a jacket? Because what I want to know is, if I didn't buy this jacket and I invested this money, what would this money have become? Because if I invested the $150, this $150 in 10 years would be worth not $150, but $300. And in 20 years, this money that I would have spent on my jacket wouldn't be $150. It would be about $600. And in 30 years, this $150 that I spent on my jacket would have become more than $1.1 thousand if I had just invested the money. So now, the real cost of this jacket isn't $150. It is almost 10 hours of my time, and it is the opportunity to make $1,100 over the next 30 years. Now you can ask yourself, do I really want to spend $150 on a jacket now? Too late, I already got it, Josprit. One of the easiest ways to save money quickly is just to not spend our money. But the tough part about that is when we want something, we want it right now. And so what I want you to do is just take a step back before you go out and you buy that jacket on impulse, or before you go and you buy something that you don't need. Just take a step back and ask yourself, what is the true cost? How much time would it cost you to actually get that? And how much money is this going to cost you over the long run? Once you do that, I want you to follow the 24-hour rule, which says you want to buy something, great. Now just take a step back, wait 24 hours, and then decide if you really want to buy it. If you still want to buy it and you do these calculations, then go out and buy it. But if after those 24 hours, you thought about how much time it's going to cost you, and you thought of how much money you're losing out of in the future, and now you decided not to buy it, well, now you just save some cash by not spending it. Third, let's talk about eating out and drinking out, because there's a huge debate in the financial world about coffee. You have people like Susie Orman who say that you going out and drinking Starbucks is one of the dumbest things that you can do with your money. And then you have people like Ramit Sethi who say the opposite. He says that it doesn't matter if you spend $5 at Starbucks because $5 is just $5. It's not going to make a difference. And then you have people like Graham Stephan who popularized the 20-cent coffee because he makes his coffee at home. Now, honestly, I can't relate to any of that because I don't like coffee. Coffee tastes like poo-poo. I don't drink coffee. I drink tea. If you go out to Costco and you buy their big pack of green tea, it's gonna cost you something like 24 cents to drink one glass of tea. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of nice teas because there's a difference between your kind of lower quality teas and your nicer teas. If you want a nice cup of tea, it is going to cost you somewhere between 35 cents to 50 cents if you make it at home. If you go out and you buy the same tea from a nice tea shop, it is going to cost you at a very minimum of $3.50. So clearly, if you went out and you made your tea yourself, you're going to save $3 every time you make your tea at home. But let's also talk about the food. If you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, you know that I love food, and more specifically, you know that I love guac. Now, if I go out and I go to Target and I buy an avocado right now, it is going to cost me something like 89 cents. Okay, if I go out and I buy this avocado, so I'm gonna draw you an avocado that looks more like a cookie than an avocado, but if I paid 89 cents for this avocado, I can make 4 sides of guac. Okay, now if you're like me and you really like guac, maybe this is just gonna make you one side, one avocado, one side, but let's assume that you can make 4 sides of guac from this one avocado. That means if you eat your guac at home, you are gonna be paying somewhere between 25 cents, I'm gonna round up here, to 89 cents for your side of guac. 89 cents if you're someone like me who wants to eat the whole avocado, 25 cents if you only wanna eat a fourth of that. Okay, you're gonna be paying less than $1 if you wanna get your guac, but if you go to the store, if you go to a restaurant and you wanna get a side of guac, it is gonna cost you at least $3 for a small side of guac, and you're barely gonna get a quarter's worth of guacamole. If you just make your nice tea at home, and I don't know about coffee, but tea is very easy to make at home. All you gotta do is warm up some water and put some tea leaves in there or put a tea packet in there. It is very easy. You don't need any fancy equipment. So if you just make your tea at home and you eat your avocado at home, you're gonna save $6 between the two. Now, if you do this 5 times a week, like many people do, 52 weeks a year, you are going to save $1,500 over the course of a year just by eating your avocados at home and just by making your tea at home. This is where I want to give you a little disclaimer because you know what? I like tea and sometimes I do like drinking in a tea shop. I'm not one of those people who says, I never go out to the tea shop and drink tea. I like to have a lot of meetings over tea. I don't go to the bar, I don't drink, I don't do things like that, but I do like tea. And I have a lot of meetings over tea. So sometimes for the experience, I will go out and I will drink this tea. But when it comes to my daily tea, I don't drink tea every single day, but when it comes to my regular general tea, then I'm just gonna make it at home and I'm not going to the tea shop every morning to get my morning tea. This is where I want you to draw a line between consumption and enjoyment. If you're just going to the tea shop every morning to drink your tea and you're just putting extra guac in your lunch because you like guacamole, you are blowing money on things that you don't need. But if you're going out to hang out with your friends because you want to drink some tea together and have a good time, sure, go out and pay $3.50 for a tea. that's okay. But spending this money every single morning just because you don't want to brew it at home, that's a different story. It is okay to go out and have a cup of tea with your friends or go out to a restaurant once in a while, but it is different when you're talking about doing it every single day just because that's what you think is normal, because you want to go out and you want to eat a burrito and you want to get extra guac every single day. By the way, if you are eating in restaurants, just drink water. You are going to save a ton of money just by drinking water instead of ordering a Coke.